Hey everybody, this is Eric Clark's Travel Videos, and I'm here in Malta. And here in my Airbnb, I've met a family of people, and one of them is Sam, and they're from Canada, and he was in Istanbul right before coming here, and he had a crazy experience kind of like mine, but his was the drinking scam. And so I asked him if we could do a little interview and sit down and talk about the things that he experienced and how it went, and maybe some of the keys that led up to his event. And they fleeced him for thousands of lira, and it was a pretty scary event, I think. And so we're just going to talk to him, and he'll tell you his story, and we'll share it with you. And it's all in an effort for you to be safe. Don't get conned. Don't get roped into these things. Be very, very careful, especially in Istanbul. Finding two people in the same spot that just came from Istanbul that had problems, there's a problem, and you should be aware of it. Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Bye-bye.
everybody. This is Sam from Canada. Say hi, Sam.
Hey.
And he's going to tell you his story. And he just came from Istanbul, like I was telling you. And go ahead, Sam. I'll let you talk.
Yeah, so I was in Istanbul, just enjoying my time there. I'd been there for about 4 days, and I was just on the European side of this bridge, the fishing bridge as I like to call it, and I was just heading back to my Airbnb, looking at the map, had my AirPods in, just kind of cruising along, and this man, well-dressed guy, he's wearing a collared shirt, a vest, a jacket, dress pants, nice shoes. He comes up, he says, "Oh, I can tell you're from North America. Where are you from?" I say, "I'm from Canada. Where are you from?" He says, "I'm from Malta." Obviously, right now I'm in Malta, so I was obviously intrigued with his story and engaged him right away and was like, "Can you tell me a little bit about Malta? That's awesome. I'm about to head there." And the conversation just continued. So I am immediately asking him, "Okay, well, I'm going to go this way." He says, "Are you heading this direction across the bridge?" I say, "Oh, yeah, I am heading across the bridge." He convinces me to keep walking with him, and I don't see any reason why not. So we continue walking. We're having a great conversation. He seems to me to be the best guy I've met so far. He seems like a really good guy. We're getting along very well, and we're having a very natural, flowing conversation. So we get to the other side of the bridge. We stop. We smoke a cigarette. I go buy a Coke. We continue walking. We stop at a park. We sit on a bench, smoke another cigarette. Continue walking, the whole 9 yards. We've been walking for about an hour or so. So it's quite some time. The conversation has never really died down. It's never felt uncomfortable. I feel like I've made a new friend. So we're walking, we're getting fairly close to my Airbnb. I'm letting him know, okay, I'm probably gonna head this way. This is the way that I typically get back home. And he says to me, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna go grab a beer just down this way." And I say, "Oh, well, I was just about to go buy a couple beers at the convenience store and go drink alone, so would you like to go grab a beer together?" So I actually did the engagement. He said, "Yes, absolutely. I know a perfect spot. Like, that's where I'm heading." I say, "Okay, perfect. Is it nearby here?" He says, "Yes." So I figure it's not too far out of my way. We continue walking, great conversation. Just off of a main street, we take a couple side roads, and we end up at this place. It says nightclub at the very top, and we go down a couple flights of stairs into this weird basement, and there's just a bunch of topless girls in the room, and techno music is really loud. So naturally, because it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm typically not going to strip clubs at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I feel very uncomfortable. I bring this up with him, and he lets me know that he usually spends his time in Abu Dhabi, and the only reason that he comes here is for business. He's a civil engineer, and so he has to get his kicks in while he can. So therefore, we're at this strip club and having drinks.
He had an excuse for everything. Every time you had a question or a thought, he always had a canned response.
Yeah, and it put me at ease. It really did. Although I probably should have been a little bit more skeptical. So we sit down. He asks if I want a whiskey. I say no, I don't really like whiskey. I'll have a beer. And in Istanbul, usually the beers are quite large when you go and order them. But at this place, all the beers were coming in short little glasses, and I thought that was
like a shot glass size.
yeah, like a short glass that you would have a whiskey in typically, but it was with beer in it. And I would think that would be uncommon all over the world. Typically, beer is in a pint or some larger glass. So, obviously, that was a little bit weird, but I figured, whatever, this is kind of a weird spot. So, then these girls come sit down. He and I are having good conversation, just cheersing a lot and saying, "Oh, nice to meet you. It's been awesome. Great to talk to someone." I was saying it's great to speak to someone that speaks very well in English because I haven't really met anyone that does that. So he was saying, "Oh, it's great to meet someone from Canada. I'm so interested in the culture and blah blah blah." So a couple girls sit down. The bartender comes over and says, "Oh, would you like to buy them a drink?" He immediately says, "Yes, I'll buy her a drink." The woman sitting next to me, I don't really want to buy her a drink, but I'm being made out to be impolite if not. And I'm doing the calculation in my head about how much money I have in my pocket and how much money I'm willing to spend on alcohol at the bar at 3 p.m. So I say, "Okay, yeah, I'll buy her a drink." So she gets a drink, I get a drink, he gets a drink, and the girl sitting next to him gets a drink. So we're all drinking, cheersing. I'm becoming more and more comfortable throughout, but the drinks are still coming in very small portions. So I have 5 drinks, and I am ready to leave. I'm ready to go shower, eat some food, organize myself, and but I still think that me and him are friends. I still don't think that anything is really amiss. So I offer him my phone number. I say, "Give me a text, and we can meet up later. Like maybe we can go eat dinner together or something," because we've been getting along so well. So we get to the point where we're going to split the bill. He calls over the bartender and says, "We're gonna."
How much time do you think passed between when you went in and when you guys got the bill?
Probably about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So I'd had 5 drinks. He had probably had 5 drinks, and the girls.
And his were all rum or
whiskeys.
Whiskeys. Okay.
Yeah, and then the girls had 1 each.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't continually buying them drinks, but they were dancing and trying to get me to dance. I was kind of hesitant to do so. So the bartender comes over, they bring the bill, and it says 6,000 or so lira, which is way more money than I had ever spent on anything in Turkey. And I had been in Turkey for 10 plus days prior. Istanbul for 4, but in Turkey and other areas for 10 plus days. And the most expensive thing that I had bought was 250 lira, and that was a 4-course dinner, and I had probably 5 beers at that dinner. And so then I was thinking, stupidly I guess, that was 600 instead of 6,000. So I had approximately 400 lira in my pocket, and I gave them all the money that I had in my wallet.
So 6,000 lira is $727. So
Yes.
that's horrendous.
Yeah.
You know.
So I give them all the money that I have, and they laugh. They think that I'm stupid, and I'm thinking, how could it possibly be more? Like I bought 1 drink for the girl and 5 drinks for myself. How could it be more than 400 lira or whatever I have in my pocket? So then they educate me that the girl's drink was 2,000 something lira and my drinks were 50 lira each. And I am questioning why on earth would I ever buy this woman a drink? Like, I don't know her, and she didn't do anything for me. Like, regardless, there are many bouncers around. We're in a dark little...
Big guys?
Yeah, big guys. Big Turkish men. And they're all dressed super nicely. And everyone else in the room is wearing a suit or is a naked woman. And so I feel naturally very uncomfortable. I say, okay, well, I can go get some more money. I just have to go to the ATM or go back to my place.
Do you think that was your natural response, is to go and to want to go to the ATM and get more money, or do you think that...
No, I probably, if I were in Canada or the US or somewhere where I could communicate well, I would probably make an argument for myself and say, this is ridiculous. What is the reasoning for this? Like, I know that the beers are less expensive than that, but I didn't. That wasn't, I guess, my natural reaction. That wouldn't be in that situation in a North American country. But I felt very uncomfortable, so I was trying to avoid conflict more than anything.
It's
I think.
Turkey.
Yeah.
And what was his response to all this? Was he okay with the 6,000? He didn't even blink.
No, he didn't blink.
He was just going right along with it.
Yeah,
Did he come out with his money? Did he?
He pulled out his money. I said, okay, are you able to cover my half? Because I'm a student, you brought me here, you know that, like, we've had an hour and a half conversation about our lives, and I've told him that I'm just here, I'm trying to spend very little money. And so I asked him, can you cover this? Like, this is more money than I've ever spent here. I don't have this money in my wallet, like it seems like you do. And he said, like, we agreed to split it, and he kind of was a little bit upset that I was being rude. And I was uncomfortable. I didn't know what to do. So I said, okay, I'll go take out more money. So I had 3 bouncers from the bar walk me to the ATM. I took out as much money as I could at the time, was 2,000 lira at a time. So I took out that maximum amount of money, and I'm still operating under the assumption that that is plenty of money. It is a lot of money in American dollars or Canadian dollars, and there's no chance that it was that expensive to serve me. So
knowing that a beer was only like 14 lira anywhere you go.
Exactly.
Right. So when you think about 700, I mean, gosh, it'd be, like hundreds of lira a beer.
Yeah. Which is insanity. So we walk back, and as we're walking back, each of the 3 bouncers say, oh, as a service charge, I need 200 lira from you.
For each one?
Yes.
So that was another 600
lira. So I give them 600 lira, and thinking back, that was something that I would never do. I would immediately, like, if I was myself, I would have probably just run, knowing that I'm definitely faster than I play sports. I was in a public area. If I was running and 3 people in suits were chasing me, I would hope that someone in the vicinity, and logically someone should have helped me. But
it's Turkey.
Yeah. So
do you think, did the beer taste normal? Was it?
Yeah.
It tasted okay.
Tasted fine. So I gave them each 200 lira, and I walked with them back to the place. I gave them the rest of my money, and they kind of laughed at me again and were like, oh, you're $900 lira short, which baffled me. I said, how could that be possible? This is the amount of money I took out. I already gave you this amount. I gave them that amount. Like, I must have covered my bill. They say, no, you're 900 short. I say to the guy that brought me there, why did you bring me to such an expensive place? This is crazy. And he's very apologetic. He's saying, I'm so sorry. Like, I know the position that you're in. I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. Like, you're such a nice guy. And I am very accepting of that answer, I guess. I am then walked by 4 bouncers out, and I go back to the same ATM. I take out another 2,000. They walk me back. There's no service fee.
You had to pay them 200 each?
No. For the second time, no. I think it was probably the 3 bouncers that had walked me the first time were just looking to get some more money off of me. And the 4 bouncers, there were 3 of them were the same, but there was one more. So I went back and I gave them the 900 that they were looking for. And then they offered me 2 free drinks on the house and 3 cigarettes. And so I was very accepting of that. They gave me the 2 beers and 3 cigarettes. I drank the 2 beers with my so-thought friend.
Were you angry sitting there?
Yes, very. And the girl next to me that I had bought a drink for, she looked at me and asked me, do you have a tip? And I said...
Don't go here.
Yeah, I said, no, I'm not giving you a tip. Like, you just took all the money I have. And then she scooted away from me and sat with her arms crossed and didn't say a word for the rest of the time. And I looked at the guy next to me and was like, what a bitch. Or
Right.
I was upset, and I was upset with him, and he was very apologetic, and I was like, okay, there's nothing I can say to you, but that was mean.
How much did the whole thing cost?
So in Canadian dollars, I ended up spending $760, $800, a little bit more. Yeah.
So a lot.
A lot, yeah.
A lot of money.
And more money than I had spent in my entire time in Turkey combined. And so I drank the 2 beers, I left, I walked out the front door, and when I walked out, a huge sense of relief rolled over me. I was like, I made it out alive.
Do you think those guys would have beat you up?
Yeah. I think if I had put up an argument while I was inside, but while I was at the ATM, I definitely had the opportunity to run away. I don't know why I didn't. And looking back, when I left, a huge sense of relief rolled over me, and then a huge sense that I was an idiot. I just felt very stupid. I walked back to my hotel or my Airbnb. I got in and I immediately went to sleep. So I slept for 3 hours, and the beers were very small, so it wasn't like I was drunk. I had been walking for a long time, but it's not like me to just immediately pass out. I don't take naps often, so I presume that I was being lightly dosed with something in every drink, but that's obviously up in the air.
And do you think that this was out of the ordinary for you on many levels?
Yes.
Obviously, the titty bar is not your thing in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
and meeting a stranger, and certainly not paying $750 for an hour and a half of drinking with a guy that's your friend. What advice would you give people out there that find themselves talking to somebody in Istanbul or in Turkey that speaks their language, and that they're a single and a lone traveler?
Yeah, I would say just be very skeptical. Don't willingly engage right off the bat, or hop hand over fist into it, or dive right in like I did. And naturally, I was very skeptical of people that were coming up to me on the street and that were inherently Turkish. I would be shying away from them because
selling carpets or
because I knew what they were trying to get at. But when someone engaged me and acted as if they weren't looking for anything and were my friend, or were just, oh, I'm alone as well, like, oh, do you want to go grab a beer, or let's go just walk this way, I'm actually heading that way too, I would be very hesitant to follow them to the ends of the earth, or to the extent that they're looking for, because I think that trusting people while you're traveling, it allows you to have a lot of experiences that you wouldn't typically have. Like, I've met so many people that I'm so happy that I engaged with them and walked with them, and now they're my friends and I actually had a good experience with them. But when you follow them all the way, I think that's when things get
to your demise.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to say, okay, let's meet up again maybe later, and then go back and do some reflecting on the situation. Did they have an answer for everything? Were they as real as you thought they were? Because your initial instinct, or at least mine, is to trust. I was right when someone came up and spoke English to me and was very engaging, and we talked for an hour and a half before we got to this point. I was very trusting of them, but yeah, I would say just be a little bit more skeptical. And yeah.
Do you think you learned?
Yeah.
You think you'll fall for the same?
No. So it's easy to say no, but yeah, I think I've learned. Like I said, I've met so many people traveling that it was good experiences. So my initial reaction is to trust still, but I will be a lot more guarded in following them to the place that they want to go, or I'll be more questioning of their ethics, and I'll probably try and leave more often. And if they are allowing me to leave, then they have no ulterior motive. So that, I guess that would be my advice, would be try and get away from them, or like be nice about it, but say, hey, I'm gonna go this way. Would you like my phone number? And if they take your phone number and they text you like, hey, let's meet up again, then I would probably go and meet up with them, depending on the situation. But yeah, I would just try and get away and see what their reaction was. I don't know. It's a difficult situation to be in.
It really is. And I agree, Sam. I know in my experience, like I told you mine, I mean, he and my perpetrator, we talked for hours, beforehand, and I really did get lulled into the same kind of situation. And it was the English, I think, that got me. You know what I mean? And
because you're excited,
right. Nobody there talks English.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless they're, and now what I'm learning is unless they're a scammer
Yeah.
or out to do you harm. I guess that's it. Is there anything else you'd like to tell everybody else, or anything, or you okay?
No, I think I'm okay. Just I don't think you can make many mistakes, but just be hesitant,
Yeah.
Don't jump in with your eyes closed,
Yeah. Get the bills first. Get the cost first.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a tough one. Hey, thanks, Sam, for everything, and I appreciate it, and we'll share this to all the YouTubers out there.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.